My name is Dr. Dakota Corbliss, and I am the Assistant Professor of Horn at Appalachian State University. Dr. Ganong asked me to make a video on how to put together an audition video from the technology side of things. Obviously, your teachers and everybody you study with can tell you how to prepare an audition video from the playing perspective, but I wanted to talk a little bit about how we can set you up for success in terms of video and audio. So that's what we're going to cover today. First, let's talk about our audio software. So, here are 5 audio softwares that are readily available on the internet. We have Audacity, Studio One, Logic Pro, Pro Tools, which is generally the industry standard, and Adobe Audition. So, these are all softwares that you can download on your computer. Logic is for Mac OS users only, but the rest of these softwares you can download on either operating system. Let's talk a little bit about how much they cost. So, Audacity is a pretty awesome software for recording an audition video, and you just need something where you can plug your microphone in and use a digital audio workstation that's going to be free and really easy to use. Audacity is great. It's what I used at first. Pretty much anybody that's ever gotten into recording software has used Audacity at some point. Studio One is what I personally use. I use the Professional Edition. But there's a Prime version that will do everything you need for recording an audition video that's completely free to you. So Studio One, I believe they're in version 5 now. Prime is free. There's an artist version which gives you a little bit more. And then obviously the professional version is a little bit expensive, but then you have the full use of the software. Logic Pro is $200, and you can buy that in the App Store, in the Apple Store. So there's the price for that. If you're a Mac user and you want to invest some money on the digital audio workstation side, then Logic is probably what you want to use. Pro Tools is the industry standard. It's what people have been using for quite a long time, and it's a subscription base now. It used to be just a single cost, but now you have to pay per month for however long you use it. So it's $30 per month, but if you are a student or a teacher, you can get it for $9.99 a month, so there's a little bit of a discount there. They also usually have a discount for buying a year subscription in advance. So I believe the year right now is $200, and then you go on to the monthly subscription. So then there's Adobe Audition, which I haven't seen used a bunch, but it's a really user-friendly software. Again, this is a subscription-based sort of digital audio workstation, so you can pay for just Adobe Audition for $20.99 a month, and then this is part of the Adobe Cloud, and so that comes with Illustrator and Acrobat Reader, Adobe Audition, Adobe Premiere, all of those Adobe softwares, and I think that runs around $53, $54 a month, but if you're an educator or a student, you can get it for $19.99 a month. Something else to look into with all of these softwares is that if you're about to go to college or if you're in college right now, a lot of schools have deals with certain companies where these softwares are readily available to you for free. So in school is the best time to kind of figure out what kind of investment you're ready to make, because a lot of the times this stuff is available to you at a discount or even for free. So for example, Appalachian State uses the Adobe Cloud, and so all of our students and faculty have this available to us for free. And so whenever our students graduate, they know either, hey, I really like using the Adobe Cloud and I'm ready to invest in that, or I really, really hate the Adobe Cloud and I don't want to use that, so they use something else. But at least they had the opportunity to try while they were in school. So this is generally, there are other softwares. There's always going to be other softwares that you can use, but a lot of these are, I tried to give you an example of something that was completely free up to something that might be a little bit more expensive depending on what you wanted to how much you wanted to invest and how much you were able to invest. Next, we'll talk about our video software. So here are the 3 that I think are probably most used. So we have DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut Pro, which is an Apple software, and then Adobe Premiere, which you can use on both. So let's talk about price with these. DaVinci Resolve, funnily enough, is the industry standard for filmmaking, and it's completely 100% free. So you can go onto the DaVinci Resolve website and you can download it and you can use it for free. I use Adobe Premiere, And so the learning curve was a little bit different for me on Resolve, but from what I've heard from people who are just getting into it, this is a really easy software to use. Final Cut Pro is something that I'm not 100% familiar with either, but for Apple products, this tends to be the go-to standard. That's $300. It's a one-time purchase, and you can get that in the Mac store. And then there's Adobe Premiere, and this is subscription-based, like we talked about with Adobe Audition. If you just want Premiere, it's $34 a month, but if you have the educator discount as a student or teacher, you can get the entire cloud for $20 a month. Again, your school might have a deal with Final Cut or Adobe Premiere where they have that on their computers, or at least at the very least on the computers that are on campus. But you might be able to download this to your own computer using your student account. So we'll talk a little bit more about how these are all really awesome in terms of video editing when we sync the audio and video. But they all have options to do that in the program, so you don't have to line it up, on your own. So that's great. Now, let's talk a little bit about the hardware. So the way I recorded my video was the way I imagine a lot of you are going to do it, and I wanted to use that as an example to show you the quality of the audio. So I imagine most of you have access to a cell phone, and that is not a bad option at all for video. The way our cameras have gotten so much better over the past couple of decades is pretty insane. And so if that's what you have available to you, use it. The quality is generally very, very good. If you want to invest a little bit more, and by a little bit more, I mean a good bit more, hundreds of dollars, you can get a DSLR camera. Canon, Nikon, Sony make all these kinds of cameras that you can use to capture video. Or you can use your webcam on your computer. And this is probably going to be the worst option in terms of audio. But some, like the Mac webcams, tend to be pretty decent. Or if you bought a webcam during this pandemic that captures 60 frames per second or something like that, you can totally use that to capture video. All that's great. Regardless of if you use a cell phone or a DSLR camera, you're going to want a mount of some sort. It doesn't need to be necessarily this big, but they are pretty cheap. You can get one off Amazon for like $15-20. And if you're using your cell phone, you're going to want a mount with that. So this is an adapter where you can put your cell phone in there, and it screws on the top of this mount right there. And that makes things a lot easier, so you're not putting your cell phone on a stand like I did in my video. I tried to replicate what I see most of the time, but you can do that. So let's talk a little bit about the hardware for our audio setup. So there's generally two options that we can go down, two routes that we can follow. First is the Zoom H4 or H6. And you've probably seen these a lot. Zoom used to just mean these microphones, but now obviously we use Zoom for so much other stuff in terms of the video conferencing software. But these are Zoom microphones, and the beauty of these microphones is that they can be battery operated, so you don't need to bring a lot of equipment with you when you're recording. You're going to want to mount these on, similar to the tripod that we saw with the video software. You don't want to put these on a stand or anything like that. It will affect the sound, but these are generally, this is where you're going to spend your money. If you want to invest into something that's going to really take the quality of your audition videos to the next level, you want to spend it on audio gear, because we're instrumentalists and phones aren't designed to record instrumentalists. They're designed to talk on the phone. So the hardware in the phones is not designed to capture everything that we can do on our own instruments. So you're going to want to invest in some audio gear. So this H4 right here is the cheaper version, and it's not too bad, and it will capture stereo audio for you right here. The H6 version is actually pretty nifty, because then you can also plug in some other microphones here. It acts as an interface as well, but it's portable. So like I said, it's battery operated, and then you just have a USB cable that comes from the side here that will plug into your computer, and you can get the audio files that way. Now, if you're looking to invest and have a little bit of more flexibility in terms of the sound that you're getting, where you're putting it, and how many microphones you can use, etc., then you can go the audio interface route. So this is an interface that plugs into your computer, and the microphones will plug in right here and into these XLR inputs. And you can change the gain levels, how much of the sound is actually getting captured and at what volume. But you're going to need microphones. So a lot of single voice instruments are able to use what we call a large diaphragm condenser that you can play directly into, or you can position in a way that's going to capture your best sound. Saxophones is a little bit in front of you. A lot of the brass instruments, not horn, can put this right near the end of the bell and change the gain that way, because that's going to be the sound that an audience hears anyway. Horn players need a stereo pair because we need to capture a reflection of sound. So if you want a stereo pair, kind of like this, where you get a left and a right, then you're going to need a stereo mount. You're going to need a mount for your microphones regardless. And you're going to need some XLR cables. So as you can see, the audio interface route will take a little bit more investment money-wise, and is a little bit more complicated, but it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of changing what microphones you want to use, where you can put these microphones, etc., etc. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to actually take your audition video and splice the audio that you'd captured with your recording gear. In my video, I said I used Studio One and my camera phone, and I used an interface with these Rode stereo pair with the mount right here, which you can't see, it's in front of me off camera. So let's jump over to that. Okay, so we are in Adobe Premiere Pro, which is what I use for video editing, and I've already got my files here, so I'm just going to drag in my video from my phone, and then my audio from the stereo pair that I showed you that I used to record. So, as you can see, I didn't take all of the front ends of these videos, I just took kind of like the back excerpts here. And so, you can try to line it up perfectly on your own, but something that both Adobe and Final Cut and Resolve, which is the free video software that I showed you, do really well is that you can actually sync these. So I got it pretty close, so we're probably not going to see a huge difference, but it will actually get them perfectly aligned here. So we just saw that jump over right here. Now, since I didn't use any of this front, I can get rid of all of this video. It'll snap for me, which is great. Get rid of all this audio that there's obviously nothing going on here. And then I have a fully synchronized video with audio, and I have audio from the phone and audio from the stereo pair. So let's give this a listen with just the phone microphone. Cool. So that is the microphone on the phone that is capturing this video. It's pretty direct because where my bell is, and it's probably a little bit brighter and a little bit more of the natural sound of the horn rather than the reflection that I really want. So what I did is I set up the stereo pair on a microphone stand about 8 feet away from me and a little bit taller than how I'm sitting. And so we won't get nearly as much bleed over from the other room, and because you might be in that kind of setting when you're recording these in school. There's a lesson going on in this room right here. And so with the stereo pair, we're going to get a better sound, and we're going to have more flexibility on how much we can do with it if we need to raise the gain or anything like that to turn up the volume. So let's take a listen to that and compare. Cool. So you could barely hear the lesson that was going on over here. And on top of that, the sound was much more representative of what I would like an audition committee or a graduate school to hear, because they're actually getting a reflection of the sound into the microphones over here. Now, it was a little low, so what I can do in Adobe Premiere is actually turn that up a little bit. Awesome. So now, I like that audio. I like the level that it's at. I assume that everything else throughout this is going to be fine. the last step that you want to do is make sure that you get rid of the bad audio from your phone. Okay, so when you drop a video into Premiere and it has audio with it, it's automatically going to group those things together. And so what you need to do is unlink them and get rid of this audio. And so now you have the good audio with the good video. And just to make sure that everything's working the way you want it to, let's check out the synchronization. Awesome. So you now have a video that is ready to add any kind of title screen that you'd like to it, or any information that you need to up front. If you needed to, cut a part of the video out, like maybe this looks like a bad take that I don't want, and I can shift click, which will get both of them. Get rid of that, and then you can have a transition here. If you need to do them all, all at the same time, then obviously you can't do that. But now I have 3 different excerpts. That are all aligned. I think this is Brahms. So I have 3 different excerpts. If I wanted to put a little title screen with a little bit of information about what I'm playing, that is also something I could do on the front. But now I have synchronized audio and video, which is great. All right, so now that you've seen how to actually take your video and splice it together with your audio that you've recorded on either your Zoom or your audio interface, stereo pair, condensers, whatever you want to use, you should be able to put together your Audition video from from the technology standpoint. So hopefully I answered most of your questions. If you have any more, feel free to reach out to me by email, which I've put here on the screen, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you for your time.